In the opening, we introduce an unemployed drifter named George Nada searches for work in Los Angeles. George visited a crowded job center seeking employment. He explained that his hometown's business closures left him jobless. The job center worker deemed him insufficiently experienced and rejected his application. George left disappointed. George, while wandering, encounters a preacher claiming that demons control the ruling class, manipulating ordinary people. The preacher urges listeners to resist this control. Noticing a police car, Nada continues walking. George, passing a store, observes a man captivated by a meaningless advertisement. He later finds a homeless shelter for the night. Nearby, a woman is engrossed in a television program featuring a self-absorbed celebrity. George, exhausted, rests and reflects. George secures a laborer job at a construction site, despite initially being ineligible due to union requirements. He begins work immediately but faces immediate homelessness due to delayed payment. A fellow worker, Frank, offers George food and shelter, leading to a developing friendship. Frank brought a drifter, George, to a welcoming Los Angeles camp of diverse, helpful people seeking fortune. George was immediately given a task and a large meal. Frank shared his story of relocating for work to support his family in Detroit, fueled by anger towards the local elite who caused widespread unemployment by closing factories. Frank is prepared for strong action if more factories close. Frank warns George of impending competition for resources, while George remains optimistic about building his life through hard work. Nada witnesses locals watching a commercial, followed by a broadcast about an artificially created world controlled by a signal from unknown creatures, leading to increased poverty and racial injustice. The aliens brainwash people to be indifferent to everything except their own benefit. Residents ignored a TV warning, complaining only of headaches. A blind priest repeated the broadcast, prompting an argument with Gilbert, who then took him to the church. George suspected a secret. The next morning, Gilbert explained his church visit, citing kitchen duties and choir rehearsal. A mysterious man's broadcast, causing headaches, reappears on TV, urging viewers to stop the hypnotic signal. Gilbert returns to the church, followed by George, who discovers a hidden laboratory and the inscription, "They live, we sleep." The church choir singing masks a secret meeting where the group attempts to extend their broadcast to recruit more people. George accidentally finds a vault full of boxes before encountering the blind priest. A priest, after releasing George, a laborer, discusses revolution. George flees, prompting the priest to predict his return. A police helicopter's presence unnerves church attendees before departing. George, using borrowed binoculars, observes Gilbert and his henchmen removing boxes from the church. Frank discourages George from interfering. Later, police demolish the camp, causing residents' panic dispersal. Police brutally attack a camp, killing a priest and preacher. George rescues a teenager, and they find other survivors hiding in a church. The survivors spend the night in fear, unsure why they were attacked. The next morning, they survey the destroyed camp, finding a functioning TV broadcasting advertisements. George plans to explore a vault within the church. During a raid, a provocative inscription was covered. George found a box identical to those Gilbert took, containing sunglasses. He hid the box after discovering its contents. Wearing the sunglasses, George saw the world in black and white, with messages promoting obedience and consumption replacing images. People appeared monstrous. He repeatedly put on and removed the glasses to confirm this altered perception. George, wearing special glasses, sees the inscription, "This is your God," on banknotes and discovers hypnotizing sleep broadcasts from transmitters on traffic lights. He observes that aliens, appearing monstrous through his glasses, are highly successful in society. After realizing a politician is also an alien, George's outburst about the aliens reveals his secret. A lady alerted aliens to a man who could see their true forms via her wristwatch walkie-talkie, leading them to him. He was subsequently apprehended by disguised alien police officers who interrogated him about glasses he possessed. After overpowering them, he sought refuge in a bank, discovering more disguised aliens. He then engaged in a shootout with them before fleeing a pursuing drone. George, fleeing pursuers, kidnaps Holly and forces her to take him to her house. He explains that evil creatures controlling everyone threaten their world. Holly disbelieves him, and while he rests, escapes by hitting him with a bottle and pushing him out a window. George survives the fall but loses his sunglasses. Holly reported the events to the police. Nada hid under a bridge. George spent a night in the street before seeking Frank's help against aliens. But Frank, terrified by George's actions, refused. George then retrieved some sunglasses from a garbage truck witnessed by Frank. Frank gave George his salary but refused further help and believed George had gone insane. George and Frank fight after George's revelation, culminating in Frank believing George's alien encounter story. They rent a motel room to plan their next steps, focusing on finding others who have seen aliens. George explains his abusive childhood and links his desire for revenge on the aliens to societal inequality. They later meet Gilbert, also wearing sunglasses, who invites them to a secret meeting. Friends meet other seers and receive new eyewear. Gilbert reveals that alien invaders are recruiting humans, promising wealth for service, and causing global catastrophes to exploit Earth's resources before moving on. A resistance member shows Frank an alien device. Its code remains unbroken. Despite lacking sufficient numbers for a large-scale attack, the group wants immediate action. Gilbert proposes instead to find and hack the alien signal to awaken the entranced population. Holly reveals a clue about a signal's location before a police attack on the resistance. George, Frank, and Holly escape, engaging the attackers. Frank prevents George from a dangerous plan to find Holly. While attempting to use a watch to intercept alien communications, they accidentally open a portal. Fleeing pursuing police, they enter the portal and arrive at an underground alien base, discovering alien writings and overhearing a report declaring the successful elimination of a terrorist group. Frank and George investigate sounds leading them to a banquet celebrating an alien alliance takeover of Earth. A speaker boasts of the benefits for humanity's elite and shares successful takeover statistics. A former camp resident, believing Frank and George are recruits, is surprised by their attire and gives them a tour of the alien base, including an airport for interplanetary travel and a television studio control center. A global signal enslaves humanity's consciousness. George and his companions, after tricking their guide, attempt to forcibly enter a television studio to confront the alien overlords. These aliens control the planet and offer collaboration in exchange for loyalty, a proposition the group rejects. Soldiers breach a room, allowing a traitor to move. The friends enter the main office, interrogating employees about Holly's location, learning the hypnotizing signal is on the roof. They encounter Holly, who survives an alien attack, but she betrays them, fatally shooting Frank before reaching the roof. George, upon discovering an alien signal broadcast, is confronted by Holly, who orders him to surrender. He shoots Holly and destroys the dish, provoking a helicopter attack. Before his death, George defiantly gestures to the aliens. His actions reveal the aliens' hidden presence among humans, who were unknowingly watching alien-produced media and interacting with them. George's actions ultimately expose this deception to humanity. Finally, George was able to save humanity from the control of aliens and save humanity from destruction and their shameless actions. Here is the end. Subscribe if you like our content. Thank you for watching.